Welcome to the latest phase of dumb stage capitalism. That's right, we have reached the phase of capitalism where things just get oh so stupid. But people still take this crap seriously. So this is actually from April 15th. So this is from a couple of weeks ago. I was actually out on vacation. So I figured by the time that I got home, this story would essentially be dead. But of course, it is 2026. And so the story is not dead. AllBirds. You remember AllBirds? AllBirds was the new shoe company, right? They were revolutionizing tennis shoes for the modern world. Apparently, they got up to like a $4 billion valuation. They're created in like 2015. They created these new shoes that took Silicon Valley by storm. They got all of this investment money, got up to a $4 billion valuation, and then they blew up because wait for it. They were a shoe company. And it's the 2020s. That's not exactly that revolutionary. And so anyways, they're sitting there and they're trying to figure out what to do next, right? Okay. We try to make shoes. We got a valuation of $4 billion off of making shoes. What synergy is there? Could we do like bespoke clothing? Could they do something else? Could they, I don't know, do AI infrastructure? And it's 2026. So apparently they're deciding to do AI infrastructure. I am not crapping you right now. A shoe company is pivoting into AI infrastructure. They had almost a 600% stock bump when they declared they were getting into AI infrastructure. And the thing is, it's now been a couple of weeks. And the curious thing with it is, if we go over and we look at their stock price, it has been coming down, but it's still 3x what it was. So before they said they were going into AI infrastructure, they were trading about $2.55 a share. And now, as you can see up here, they're at $5.85 a share. So they are over double what they were before they decided to go into AI infrastructure. They did pop all the way up to $17 a share. That came down because, there is some semblance of sanity in the market. But yeah, they are still pretty high. And so this reminds me back during the blockchain, thing. Remember when we were told blockchain was going to change the world? And then some of us raised our hands. And we're like, well, I mean, yes, there are some use cases for blockchain, but not that many. And we were told we were morons. Remember back then, there was an iced tea company. I crap you not, there was an iced tea company that decided to pivot into blockchain. Thankfully, the SEC still had a little bit of sanity back then, and the SEC smacked the shit out of them for being so stupid. But that's basically where we are in this particular boom-bust cycle, where completely nonsensical companies are now jumping in to this bubble. And it just shows you how stupid all of this is. Why I am so frustrated at this point in time. So we go over, we take a look at this, right? AllBirds made a surprising announcement Wednesday, so again, this was a few weeks ago, that it is pivoting from shoes to artificial intelligence. The move boosted shares of the minuscule market cap company. It was valued at about $21 million at Tuesday's close by 582%. Simply by saying we're going from shoes to AI, they went from $3 a share to $17 a share. Do you think there might be a problem with this? The company announced that it's pivoting its business to AI compute infrastructure in a release posted to its investor relations page. The company, which according to the release will be called New Bird AI, announced a deal to raise up to $50 million in funding, expected to close in the second quarter of 2026. Quote, the company will initially seek to acquire high-performance, low-latency AI compute hardware and provide access under long-term lease arrangements, meeting customer demand that spot markets and hyperscalers are unable to reliably service, the company said in the announcement. AllBirds, once a Wall Street darling valued north of $4 billion, announced a deal with American Exchange Group to sell its intellectual property and other assets for $39 million last month. So again, as a shoe company, they were valued at $4 billion. They failed as a shoe company, sold all of their intellectual property for $39 million last month, and now they're getting into AI. AllBirds was founded in 2015 by former professional soccer player Tim Brown and renewable resources expert Joey Zwillinger. So this is the other thing too. Again, you might be sitting there and going, well, you know, just because they were doing a shoe company might not mean they don't have any other skills to bring to the table, right? Maybe it was a software engineer that created a shoe company, or an infrastructure engineer that created a shoe company. It's like, look, I was walking around these big ass data centers all day. My feet hurt. I realized data center employees need better tennis shoes. And that is where I came up with AllBirds. And so again, if AllBirds failed and then they went back to what they originally did, again, that would make an ounce of sense. Not a lot of sense, but it would make some sense, right? This is a professional soccer player and a renewable resources expert. Holy hell, right? Going into the AI sphere. Because look, anybody can do AI. To create a new category of shoes that relied on natural materials, not plastics and other petroleum products. In 2016, AllBirds introduced its debut shoe made with merino wool and became an instant success, particularly among the tech bros who were drawn to the brand's comfort and sustainability. It embarked on an ambitious store opening plan and went public in 2021, but soon saw its business begin to slow as trends changed, competitors moved in, and customer acquisition costs rose. Huh. Does that remind you of something that somebody's been screaming about? So trends changed, right? You know, competitors moved in, and things like acquisition costs rose. Huh. It almost seems like that could be attributable to other businesses in the modern world too. Let's see here. Between 2022 and 2025, sales plummeted nearly 50%, falling from $298 million to $152 million. And so, Ben, like I say, they sold their intellectual property a little while ago for $39 million, and now they're getting into AI infrastructure. Cause sure. And this is where I say with all this AI stuff, my anger and frustration about all of this has nothing to do with vector databases, has nothing to do with neural networks, has nothing to do with LLMs or reasoning models or vision models or any of that kind of stuff. My frustration and argument with all of this is just how bat crap insane the business world has gotten with this artificial intelligence idiocy. As I've said before, right? It's important to understand, right? With OpenAI right now, this is the year of productivity. So they call this the year of productivity because they realized most people don't actually know what to do with AI. And you think about that for a second. It's interesting. One of the stories I'm going to talk about later is Anthropic is getting into bed with private equity firms. And what the private equity firms are going to do, there's this whole weird, I don't know, circular business. Anyways, they got a whole business orgy going on over there. But one of the things is the private equity firms are going to force their own companies to start using AI. And again, to be clear, they're going to force their own companies to start using AI because they need to get some returns on this AI stuff. And if people don't actually start using the artificial intelligence the way we've been told people are going to use the artificial intelligence, the bubble's going to go boom, right? And that's the world we're in. We're in this hyper investment cycle. We're in this hyper scaling build out cycle where now everybody is trying to get in on this gold rush. And yet we actually haven't even figured out if we really have gold yet. It might be gold, it might be silver, it might be lead. And that's the thing. Like I say gold and lead, and it sounds very derisive, but look, lead is important. The modern world needs lead. The modern world needs a crap ton of lead. It's just now nowhere near as valuable as gold, right? That's just the fact of the matter. And that's my argument with this whole AI stuff is I think AI is more like lead. I mean, it is valuable at scale, but it is very much more of a commodity type thing than people really want to think that it is. So anyways, yeah, what do you think about this? What do you think about a shoe company pivoting into AI infrastructure? Does that sound like the metaphor for 2026? You're like, oh yeah, if this happened in 2025, I wouldn't believe it. But it is 2026, so that makes complete and utter sense. How long after the shoe company pivots into AI infrastructure, how long do you think it'll be before all of this goes boom? And what do you think? What do you think about the stock price still being up? Again, when we take a look at that stock price, it has gone down, to be clear, it has gone down, but it was at 255 before. 255 back on April 10th. We are now at May 5th, so it popped to $17, which was stupid. But it's almost a month later, and it is still over twice the price of what it was a month ago, which does mean some people believe in this. Some people actually think this makes half an ounce of sense. How do you feel about that stuff? Put your thoughts down below. Just so you guys see, I am still working on technology. I am still playing with my own little projects. Again, if you want to see real technology, go to my LinkedIn channel or my LinkedIn page. You can see real technology. Right now, I'm playing with these Picos. This is a Raspberry Pi Pico. This is something called a microcontroller. This actually has a full Wi-Fi stack on it. And so what I'm doing right now is I'm just playing around. So this has a built-in temperature sensor. So I have code. This is using MicroPython. So this MicroPython basically reads the temperature sensor that's on there. This thing has connected to my Wi-Fi. It is then communicating up to my VPS, my virtual server up on DigitalOcean. So we can see the temperature values are coming in here. And then basically with those temperature values, it is then dynamically updating this web page, right? So I don't know, is it gonna update? Let me blow on it a second. There we go. See, it automatically updates. So this gets a temperature value from the internal sensor that sends that connects to the Wi-Fi, that sends that all the way up to the VPS, and then I can have this web page that will be able to dynamically give me that information. So I'm getting one of these Picos that has headers soldered on. So you can see this doesn't have headers. Headers are these pins. So I'm getting that in the mail today. And so with that, I'll actually be able to connect other types of sensors. And so basically you can have a low cost. So these are they're somewhere between $5 to $10, depending on what you buy. So you can have a very low cost little compute module. You can connect your sensors. This can connect to a Wi-Fi stack. So be able to send up information to your systems. And it should be pretty fun for building little projects. So anyways, just so you know, I am still working on my little tech stuff. I'm just not putting the classes here on YouTube because wait for it, nobody cares. Nobody cares. Anyways, with that, do remember these videos or whatever are on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. And with that, see y'all later.